bodhicitta is, it's really the engine of the whole great vehicle of all Mahayana training. And as tantrics, Vajrayana is just a tantric version, not an extension, but the tantric version of Mahayana practice, great vehicle practice. So bodhicitta is really, that's the difference between small vehicle, Hinayana, and Mahayana. That's the difference between training that aims at personal self-liberation, or commonly known as arhathood, and difference between to practice leading to Buddhahood. So I don't mean to, extrapolate? I don't mean to extrapolate these things. I don't mean to say that I actually don't mean to say that Mahayana is better. What I'm saying is that it leads to a different place than Hinayana. It leads to a different place than practice that is solely motivated by self-liberation. So I was writing about this today, and actually, let's see, should I read the whole piece? Maybe it's a good introduction. So I will read you this blog text entitled "How Practitioners Become Fully Enlightened Buddhas." I will read the text to you from beginning to end. So bear with me. Seeing through the gross sense of meanness in the form of thoughts and emotions is the foundation of all yoga and dharma. It needs to be the foundation, because if we don't see through the gross ignorance, there is no way we are able to see through subtle ignorance. In terms of Buddhist vehicles, to see through gross selfing is the task of the so-called Hinayana, or small vehicle, where the focus of practice is to remove the most basic delusions about our self-identity. We cease to think in terms of me and you, self and other, to a noticeable degree, and it is tremendously liberating. It is like coming to stand under a waterfall of pure fresh water after you haven't taken a shower for a long time. It changes you. But it doesn't change everything, and it is because of this why the so-called caring and loving heart-mind of all sentient beings, or bodhicitta, is cultivated in the great vehicle, or Mahayana, of Buddhism. Here we come to consider the difference of motivation in Hinayana and Mahayana. A great vehicle practitioner takes the vow of becoming fully enlightened for the sake of all sentient beings. We take a vow to do all the internal work that is required to uncover ourselves as fully enlightened beings, in order to help, serve, and to be an example for others, so that they can also find a way out of samsara to liberation. In other words, we commit to complete and thorough death of the ego to become Buddhas for the sake of others. This death isn't dark or heavy, and it has nothing to do with sacrificing ourselves for others, as it is commonly understood. Realization is always a very fulfilling and joyful path, because you become who you really are, the ground of timeless existence imbued with goodness. To clarify the difference between small and great vehicle practice, A Mahayana practitioner actually, in practice, takes into one's heart the suffering of all sentient beings. I am talking about the most basic Mahayana Buddhist practice of taking and giving, Tonglen. This practice is not for people who have not built a solid foundation of selflessness realization, because if this is done too early, taking in the suffering of all sentient beings can be overwhelming, too much. It is not dangerous, you just get scared and anxious for some time, and if or when you do, it is a sign that you haven't worked on your gross selfing enough. You shouldn't take bodhicitta too seriously too early. So, when you practice Tonglen, taking and giving, you are actually taking in the confusion, anxiety, fear, greediness, jealousy, and hatred, and so on, of all sentient beings, including those in your immediate presence, into your own heart. Since you don't have a gross selfing of your own anymore, you have developed a capacity to do bodhisattva, or should I say, advanced practice of the great vehicle. Again, this capacity comes through small vehicle practice, which, by the way, is what is practiced by most practitioners of Mahayana in their practice. It depends entirely on one's first-hand realization into selflessness and emptiness, anatman and shunyata, whether one is traveling on small or great vehicle. Someone might be chanting bodhisattva vows all one's life, but without foundational recognition of one's true nature. It's kind of using Mahayana motivation to generate Hinayana realization, which is backwards. An excellent source of study of becoming a Buddha are the 48 vows of Amitabha. These vows describe the attitude and motivation of a practicing bodhisattva called Amitabha, who wants to become a Buddha for the sake of all beings. In his vows, he repeatedly states that if he, after his attainment of Buddhahood, he failed to bring sentient beings to liberation, then may he not attain Buddhahood. He states again and again that if he fails to become a doorway for others' liberation, then he should never attain it himself. Because of those vows, Amitabha succeeded. Is that correct? Succeeded, became successful. And this is the whole point of bodhicitta. A bodhisattva is to put one's whole being, one's life, one's everything on the line for the sake of all sentient beings. And this is an attitude that is to be applied in all one's life. A bodhisattva, Mahayana practitioner is to become that attitude, to become that vow. Coming back to Tonglen, a Mahayana meditation exercise, this taking in of the pain of others and giving fresh, pure love in return becomes or should become one's main practice, or actually not merely practice, but a way of living one's daily life. You sit in your home, taking in the pain and giving love. You sit in a cafe, taking in the pain and giving beautiful, pure light in return. You do this day and night among those people, friends and strangers who you're surrounded with. Why? Because that's what Buddhas do. Or actually, that's not what Buddhas do, it's how they abide. To reach Buddhahood, we simply emulate our own Buddhahood by mimicking the heart-mind of a Buddha. This is the meaning of Tonglen. That was the text. Let's let that sink. In the first session of the training season, and we just kind of jumped from the edge of a cliff to a comfortable free fall, going 250 kilometers an hour. That's a deep dive for sure. I'm sorry that my picture is purely, how do you say, the poor lighting in my room. But whether you feel me eyes closed or whether you tune in with me through watching my image, please do that. Pointing out. Good posture, straight back, straight neck. Something that was mentioned in that text a couple of times was joy, joyfulness, freshness, pure love. What does that mean? Joyfulness. This is actually really interesting. In Buddhism, there is discussion of different bodies, different kayas. K-A-Y-A, kaya. And usually it's spoken that there are three kayas: Nirmana kaya, Sambhoga kaya, and Dharma kaya. And mostly Buddhism gives emphasis to selflessness or emptiness meditation, which means vipassana, insight, analytical meditation. This is also what happens with tantric practice. So what this Dharmakaya understanding and realization is that we come to see through different kinds of entities in ourselves. Subject entity, subject self, object entities, thoughts and emotions that are charged with this sense of meanness. And it's a good or very well descriptive word if I say that, when we have those insights, our mind kind of starts becoming transparent. It's sort of like if we look at windows and there's a lot of dirt on the surface of the window. When it's removed, when that sense of selfing, that dirt is removed, then there is pure window. And, light comes through it, image comes through that pure window easily without getting distorted, without getting disturbed. It goes through naturally. So this emptiness meditation, vipassana meditation, dharmakaya meditation. Dharmakaya literally means body of phenomena. The word dharma is translated in different ways, but in dharmakaya it means body of phenomena. And just like it is said in the Heart Sutra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. It means that all phenomena in our mind, all ideas, thoughts, emotions, perceptions, feelings, all of these are essentially empty of self. That if we study and investigate, they do not have a solid entity in them. And this is liberating. Seeing that, having that insight, it's liberating. It liberates us from from being bound to this self-based thinking. And after that, thinking continues. It just doesn't have that binding force and that sense of self. So through this emptiness meditation, as you know, it's extensively practiced by, I would say, more than 90% of Buddhist meditators. It's kind of you come to this clear crystal, clear diamond, colorless, odorless, just clear like transparency. But that's not all. That's just the Dharmakaya. There are other kayas. And when it is, the world is obviously not only transparent. There is also light, and because of light, there are colors. And so this is, I'm getting to Sambhogakaya, which literally means enjoyment body, kaya of enjoyment. I'm sure it could be translated in a more interesting way, but enjoyment body. And that word enjoyment is already a clue what it means. So if we think of a pure crystal or a diamond or a pure window, it's simply pure, transparent. What is wonderful in that pure jewel is exactly that it's completely transparent and perfect in its clarity. It doesn't twist, it doesn't skew, it doesn't disturb whatever image is reflected on it or energy or light that goes through it. That's the beauty of this Dharmakaya Vipassana meditation. I see we have a Lithuanian cat that came into the picture. Lovely. But there is more to us. There's more to our nature than being transparent, because there is energy, there is dance of energy, there is joy in our being. This is an obvious point. So interestingly, like I was mentioning, joyfulness and pure love in that text that I read, this is also, it's not practiced in all types of Buddhist meditation, but I would say that quite extensively in Hinayana as well as Mahayana. And so I was saying all this just as an introduction to what we're doing next, which is to smile from the heart, which is a perfect expression of this enjoyment body, this enlightenment, body of enlightenment that is in enjoyment and fulfillment. So as you're sitting, as we are sitting together, sense this joyfulness, this joy, this smiling that is beaming, radiating out from your heart. You can also lift a small smile in the corners of your mouth, just like every Buddha statue you ever saw. It helps. It can help a little bit with getting understanding this enjoyment body. It can get very dry with emptiness meditation. So we are watering the soil. So you're smiling with the corners of your mouth. You're smiling with your whole face. This smile reaches from the corners of your mouth and face and head to the heart. And little by little fills your whole body. You don't have to think of being happy. You don't have to, don't force it. Just let it come. Just smiling with our face, with our heart, with all cells of the body, as if there was a small smiling face in all cells of the body. Really letting it sink in. You can let the body relax, face relax, eyes relax. It doesn't matter whether your eyes are open or closed, but don't move your eyeballs all the time. Relaxing the eyes so that the eyeballs naturally stop. Watering the soil, making our body, mind and heart truly joyful, truly alive. By all means, you can also try smiling a more apparent smile, not only a tiny one. Just experiment with it. So this inner smiling or heart smiling is something we can begin to do, something we can start to perform as a meditative yogic exercise. We can start generating this inner joyfulness through a simple exercise of smiling. But it is also an enlightened body of ours, Sambhogakaya. Same like we can discover this body of empty phenomena, Dharmakaya, through Vipassana, in this way, and this is the most simple and most direct way to access the Sambhogakaya, the enjoyment body. So as a technique, we switched it on, and when we notice that it's switched off, we switch it on again. And as many times as switching on is necessary until our heart smiles, our whole being smiles, radiates this simple, pure joy, love, kindness, goodness all the time. It's really that simple. So, we are in Pemako Buddhism, we practice Ati Yoga or Chokchen. So we have this recognition of the natural state through knowingness, through Rikpa. So this basic knowing, we have on this retreat, we have a group together, that is already quite seasoned in this practice. So you already know what this knowing quality is, knowing characteristic of the natural state. That is there all the time. And that also, we kind of switch it on again and again, as many times as it's necessary until it becomes stable. So we have training in two bodies. But I think that on this weekend, we will focus on switching on the heart, watering the soil. It has happened to me many times that I've been so focused on emptiness meditation that, my heart has been so dry that it actually aches and hurts. And I think that happens to many Buddhist meditators, and especially men, and especially young men. We want to squeeze, we want to get results, we want to get to the bottom of it. And doing that, we choke ourselves as young men. Sometimes also women. something that I wrote in that short text that I read was putting everything on the line. And that's kind of said in a serious way, but to express that very same thing in relation to what we experience and practice right now, surrender in this joyfulness. It's kind of like there is this television program of the most awesome water slides around the world. Water slide, do you understand what I mean? Water slide in water parks. So it's kind of like that, you know, you have this slide and there's water going through it, so that when you jump into the slide, it, you know, there's no use in fighting against the slide that takes you down. You just surrender. Kind of like going to swim in a river and letting the river take you down. Let the power of the flowing water, let it carry you. Same thing here, surrender in this joyfulness. Let your own enjoyment body that is already enlightened, let it take you. Like making love to a partner, let this partner take you. Surrender. So if our heart has dried up, our whole nervous system has dried up, there isn't much joy or love or aliveness. This is a simple way to come alive again. In general, I have given the instruction of using 3 different kinds of gazes, different positions for the eyes. And in general, it's fine to have either eyes open or closed. If one has tired eyes, by all means you can sit eyes closed. But if your eyes are, you feel fresh and rested, then you can sit with eyes open. So I usually speak of 3 different gazes, where first is to gaze slightly downwards. The second one is to gaze straight ahead, horizontally, looking straight forward. And the third one is to gaze slightly upward. How, with the first and third one, how much is slightly downwards, how much is slightly upwards, you can test yourself. But when practicing Sambhogakaya, I've noticed that this upward gaze connects with that best of those 3 gazes. So this is something you can test and try yourself. It's kind of like the upward gaze is like a natural extension to that heart smile. It's kind of a, should I say that it's kind of like some part of Sambhogakaya mudra. If you think of this enjoyment body as a mudra, as a seal, then you have corners of the mouth, you have this light and love, kindness, goodness radiating from the heart and the whole body, while the eyes are set in an upward gaze. Mouth can be closed, lips closed, or gently open. Same with teeth, open or closed. Breathing through the nose. And this is, of course, the upward gaze is something that is a classic Chokchen Tegal practice. Chokchen Tegal is, again, it's a Sambhogakaya practice that leads to full Buddhahood, also known as rainbow body. If you're not used to the upward gaze, like anything new can feel a bit awkward, strange. If your eyes get tired, don't strain. Use the gazes, in that case, use the gazes you're used to. Never force. It's the love, lightness, joyfulness here that is most important. Relax into it. Relax. So we are here doing a classical Buddhist meditation practice. Someone would say that, oh, that's metta bhavana, that's metta practice, loving kindness practice. But actually, yes, it's metta practice, but with a Chokchen spin, with a Vajrayana spin. And also the fact that it's pointed out is also a Vajrayana feature. So here we are mm, switching on this enjoyment body, learning how to recognize it, mingling with it in our daily life, moment to moment, and on cushion. Until we realize that, oh, it's not actually only some joyfulness that I experience, or that it's not only some love or some kindness or goodness that I can experience, but we realize that this is me. I am this goodness. I am this lightness. I am this love. I am this love that radiates all the time. That's the discovery we have to make through switching on again and again and mingling. If you see that right away, excellent. It is also like something that is good to understand is that, so there is this radiance, this beaming of joyfulness, kindness, and love. And like I did this with my hands, that it radiates away from my heart, but it also radiates in. It comes in, goes out, comes in, goes out at the same time. Leaves arrives, leaves arrives. It's only been a little bit more than 1 hour, but I think that it's a good idea if we still have 45 minutes to go. I think it's a good idea if we lie down for 10 to 15 minutes. So let's stay together, but lie down. continuing same recognition, same practice. if you have difficulty, some sort, any sort, in your practice, get the transmission, get the pointing out from me. I'm pointing it out constantly, transmitting. Yeah. So use that support whenever you need it. Relax your body. Relax like you never relaxed before. As if it was a body of a dead person. Then there's no choice of being tense anymore. becomes completely limp. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I am the Guru. I'm in the pure land. I am the Buddha. I am the Dharma. I am the Sangha. I am the Guru. I'm in the pure land. I am the Buddha. I am the Dharma. I am the Sangha. I am the Guru. I'm in the pure land. I am the Buddha. I am the Dharma. I am the Sangha. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. All beings are free. All beings are free. All beings are free. May all beings receive my accumulated merit. I dedicate the merit to the refuge and to all sentient beings.